In episode 9, Gridman is unavailable due to the kaiju of the week putting Yuta, Utsumi, and Rika in dreams with Akane, and while he's busy trying to wake everyone up, the Neon Genesis Junior High students fight instead, making their robot form Powered Xenon. Powered Xenon? Huh. Once again, not a bad design. But I will say though, look at this now. I see that the jet becomes the arms and the tank now becomes the feet. I kind of wish that was in reverse. Just because, I don't know, the nose of the jets could just go down to make the feet. And since, like, the tank already makes the arms, why not just have those be the arms for that? Because with, like, the jet nose sticking out, it just makes things a lot wider. That's probably, like, my one critique, because other than that, once again, the sword becomes an axe. That's awesome. But so, yeah. Actually, you know what looking at this sort of reminds me of? This isn't like an exact comparison because not the same thing, but Great Go Buster, where Stag Buster's jet becomes the arms, but that was done a bit better. In here, they're just sticking out and makes things a lot wider. So like if he's walking, he would already be knocking stuff down. And yeah, that's about it. Not a bad design though, but just those two things should just switch. So, in episode 10, everyone starts putting it together that Alexis is the cause of everything from before to when the show started, to which sadly we don't see. Akane has finally snapped and just sends out a monster and tells Anti, do whatever you want. Since up to now, Anti has been tasked to do is, well, all Anti has been tasked to do is just kill Gridman, and Caliber just keeps shutting that down with no problem. So, Caliber even asks what will he do after he succeeds, and Anti doesn't have an answer, and is really left to think for himself for once. The monster of the episode 2 takes all the damage from full-powered Gridman and comes back stronger, completely able to overwhelm them until Anti steps in and starts helping Gridman. In doing so, he's actually able to evolve into his own rendition of a Gridman form, Gridknight. Gridknight, I don't know how to feel about Gridknight. Once again, I do like the head, but I don't know what it is. For some reason, I'm not a big fan of red and purple together. Like, I still get, like, that evil vibe from him, sort of. To which, fine. But he's a good guy now, with the Gridknight form. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Not too big a fan of... Like, the suit's not bad. I think I don't know. I think I just don't like the colors together for it, red and purple. That could just be me. So, towards the end of the episode, Akane discovers how Yuta is able to transform at Rika's, and this is why I said she snapped. Her eyes are stuck between looking hypnotized and shocked for how far gone is she. And the episode ends with her pulling Yuta in to stab him. Episode 11. By the way, all the kaijus from Beyond the Mist are destroyed. So now everyone will remember their memories after a kaiju attack. Yuta is in the hospital and Gridman is out of commission after Akane knocks out the computer. Alexis at this point has started reviving kaijus to attack the city, so without the computer to access Flash, Anti offers himself to help. The Neon Genesis guys realize that with Yuta injured, Gridman is inactive and wonder why, so they assume that if they repair the computer and bring back Gridman, then Yuta will respond too, because Yuta and Gridman are one and the same. In actuality, when Gridman first came to our world, he started borrowing Yuta's body. This explains Yuta's amnesia. He's actually Gridman. The real Yuta's consciousness is still asleep, and will be as long as Gridman's inside of him. Once Gridman is back on his feet, everyone makes it to help Grid Knight. Rika, this entire time, has been looking for Akane to reason with her, and once she finds her, she decides that Alexis doesn't need her anymore and turns Akane into a kaiju, leading us now into our season finale. Anti goes to save Akane from her kaiju form, and as soon as he succeeds, Alexis stabs him from behind and tosses him aside, sliding him off the blade. Like, in his human form, Anti's been getting shut down by Caliber, but goddamn. Alexis takes a new form after absorbing either Akane or all of Akane's negative feelings. Literally, when you see it, it's kind of unclear. But the best thing ever happened, and it surprised the hell out of me the first time I finished this series. They must have decided this is our final episode, so let's not hold back with one last reference from our source material. Gridman, the Neon Genesis Junior High students, and Anti all start wearing the original Acceptor and access Flash into the original form of the Gridman suit. And it doesn't stop there. While the final battle is happening, they're playing the original theme song, Yume no Hero. Like, this is all the hype. This is all the hype being backed up. Ha! This is where things get a little weird, because all of this is said to be an alternate world created by Akane to escape her hardships. And the only reason why the battles have been going on until now is because Alexis was just using her for her sadness. And as long as she has those feelings, there's no stopping Alexis. I don't know, like, it's strange that the show is saying that this all isn't real. Especially when in episode 6, the kaiju girl wasn't a creation of Akane's, so how did she get involved in all this? It's never explained. So to kill two birds with one stone, Gridman uses his fixer beam that flashes throughout the world to fix the damage to the city, seal Alexis in an energy cube, and most of all, amend Akane's heart of her feelings with Yuta, Rika, and Utsumi involved. At the end, Akane decides to leave. It's meant to mean that she's going to wake up from her dream. Gridman and company take Alexis and go back to their world. Anti instead stayed behind and got his wounds healed by the kaiju girl. The final episode concludes with 3 things. 1, Rika learns that Yuta has a crush on her. I haven't mentioned it because there was more stuff happening than just that. And 2, the last 2 shots of the show are Yuta waking up and a live-action Akane apparently getting out of bed. Symbolism? Ho! And that was 4S Gridman, the anime. Now, before we get into the character analysis, I want to talk a little bit more about the finale, because it just feels so strange that everything was just, well, might as well call it a simulation. But you gotta keep in mind of one thing. If Akane had to fix imperfections, she must not have expected Gridman, a being that travels through cyberspace. And keep in mind, this all has to be multiverse theory, because it's all a world that Akane created, and she actually sought out Alexis. So if Alexis had to be something Akane had to go and find, then Gridman had to be something she did not expect. And so, yeah, that's all I could think of because that's how the original show was. But in this case, it's like we're missing an episode because episode 1 starts off not at all like that. That's the closest case I can make when you consider that the Kaiju Girl was not actually something that Akane created. So, among other things that show, like people having some mixed up memories, but that's all we can make. And I'm not saying that that's how the show went. This is all something I straight up thought up myself. This is my own original fan theory, to which if anyone else has anything different, please feel free to tell me, because I would like to know too. Because I don't know, it just feels I guess when they were making this, it was meant to be a bit more understood. But when you consider how they started things off and where they went with it, you still have your head tilt a bit. So, now that we have finally finished talking about the show, let's move on to the characters. Starting off with Yuta. Yuta is not a bad main lead. He's pretty simple and to the point. And for the show being 12 episodes, we may not get a lot about him, but we do get more than enough about him. Like we learn early on that he had a crush on Rika, and for the time being, they don't explore that until much later. But I guess to them, with a lot more happening at the moment, with Akane and whatnot, that was much more important at the time. But yeah, Yuta as a character, pretty simple, easy to like, not bad. So next, Rika, our leading lady. She played the heart of the team, and she did that quite well in my opinion, because instead of just wanting to fight, she just wanted to reason with Akane about all the misdeeds she's been doing. But she wasn't stupid. Like, she knew when Akane could not be talked out of, they had to fight instead. But she never stopped with wanting to just reason with her and want her friend, back to, sanity. You know what it kind of reminds me of? Mai from Gaim. Because while everyone else is just fighting because the bad guys want to fight, Mai was the pacifist of the group, actually wanting to talk it out and reason with one of the overlords, and actually managed to. So, yeah, it's never a bad thing to have a character that would rather not fight, because they can be useful in certain situations. It shows that you can't just always fight to solve problems. You can talk them out too. But there are times when you can have to talk, and there are times that you have to fight, to which she learned, and it worked. So next, Utsumi. Utsumi was funny whenever he was nerdy, because whenever anyone brought up his crush on Akane, he went, "Okay, listen here, whatever else there." Cause like, he wasn't the comic relief, but he was also quite serious about the job too. Although even he had that moment where he didn't contribute much, being that backup support was more than enough. So next, Akane. Not a bad villain, nor a bad character. Her backstory is not we don't get a lot of depth into her backstory. We just get her currently at the moment. And then at the end, it's kind of, how do you put this? She didn't really have a start she more or less had a middle and end. If we had gotten more on her backstory, I would, well, I still do like her, but it just would have been nice to see a bit more of that. So next, Anti. He's fine for the most part. He actually comes back in Dynazenon, another show to which I would like to review and just watch, because I think it's on episode 7 now. And so, yeah, but as a character and villain, not bad. Like, he has an arc and a story that's still going on, once again, in Dynazenon, so can't wait to see where it goes for him. So, let's actually talk about Alexis Karab next, just because I'm wondering if I should or not. He's quite impressionable for a villain. Like, anytime Anti fails, he goes hardcore and freaking Texas Chainsaw Massacre style abuses Anti. Like, one time he had like a buzzsaw on his hand, which he just slashed him with, and he freaking stabs him in the back. Like, okay, I ain't gonna mess with you. I ain't gonna mess with you. You gonna kill me. But Alexis as a villain that he's an interesting type of villain who is empowered by hatred, and it shows itself to be quite useful with how, well, he used it in the show and how it always attracts it to him. You want to know what's another Toku comparison? Alexis Karab and Zet from Tokyuger. But a little different there because Zet is attracted to the one thing that can kill him, and Alexis, like, hatred is all he has. And so with all that hatred, it makes him stronger, and he relishes it in it all the more. So, interesting villain. Not bad. Lastly, let's talk about the Neon Genesis Junior High students. They were fun. I want to say Boar was my favorite because she just didn't give a damn. Anytime Yutsumi was just being annoying or just a nerd, she just kicked him. But she was just so... What's the word I'm looking for? I want to say plucky. And this isn't something that's apparently... Well, this is something that I just found out when watching the show too. Boar is apparently a boy. And it's so... I got that off the wiki or something. Because, honest to God, I thought Boar was a girl. But apparently he's a boy. And it's so weird because of how his hair is. But yeah, Max was fine. Vit was fine. But whenever Boar was on screen, all my attention was on him. Because he was wily. And I loved it. The short one that gave no shits. And would pull a sword on you because... Well, he's obviously the youngest, so makes sense. While everyone else is either calm or just low-key. And this show was tight. Definitely recommended for anyone to watch. And, yeah, hopefully in the future I get to look at Dynazenon too. But not in the close future, because right now, well, with that show on the air, I definitely want to catch up. But finally, I can get on now to my next review, which is back to the Showa era with KamenRider Stronger. Damn it, I knocked off my glasses. That's a first for this channel, so why not? Thank you guys for watching. Please not forget to like, subscribe, share this video, and tell your friends about KamenRider Blackman. And yeah, go check out 4S GRIDMAN. This show is pretty good. And I think anyone who has seen this review, they might like it. So, that's it. Peace.